Wow, what an honor. Thank you. Let me get myself situated here. I have to tell you, well, first of all, thank you very much, Mickey, for this honor. Thank you to all of you that are so busy to come in and talk to me. That really, my job is to talk to our people. I'm hopefully the first bridge that they cross when we come to this country that helps us all not only tackle the huddle of learning the English language, but also the language of money, which we all need to do. Now, being a woman and being a Latina and being in the money world, I've heard every single joke there is about being blonde and whatever, and I have to tell you that it really doesn't faze me at all because I know that I'm not stupid, and I know that I'm not blonde, so you take the best shot. Now, I also want to thank my dear, dear friend, Adriana Comellas Macretti, who took me to State Farm, who sponsored not just the PBS shows, but also the radio show, where every day I get hundreds of calls from people that want to make that American dream become a reality, and hopefully, you know, they're now being able to achieve it thanks to your sponsorship. So thank you very much, Adriana. This award is really not about me. It's about the fact that we're out of denial. How many of us came to this country to watch novelas? You know, to watch sports, for music? How many of us came here for a better financial future for us and for our family? We all did. This is the reason why I'm here, is because we are out of denial and we are ready to learn. As a matter of fact, many people ask me, you know, Julie, how did you get started? How did you begin? My beginnings were really not any different. For every one of me up here, there could be hundreds of you that could take the podium. But I was born in Cuba. I was born of parents. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad was a farmer. He and 5 brothers raised rice. They cultivated rice, and they refined it and exported it. When Castro took over, my parents wanted to have my brother and myself, my brother's a year older, have a better future. And if you were between 15 and 27, you couldn't leave Cuba because that was military age. So my brother left through Spain by himself when he was 14. And the following year, when I turned 14, the only way that they could get me out of the country was to send me to an orphanage in Mexico City, where I stayed then until my parents, I went to Los Angeles. I never went through Miami. I went to Los Angeles, and my parents arrived 2.5 years later. When I was still in Cuba, my brother asked for a job at Cathedral High School in Los Angeles mowing the lawn, and he was not given the job. And my dad, a farmer, guajiro, un campesino, in Cuba, sat down, longhand, wrote a letter in Spanish to the Pope. And we thought that he was crazy. And the Pope answered. And thanks to that letter, both he and I went to Loyola Marymount University on grants and scholarships and loans, but we made it through college. Now, my dad said, you know, God was busy. I went to the second guy in command, which really taught me a lesson right there, is that power is something you take. It's not something you give. And it's something that we need to learn, especially in our community. When I was in Hollywood High School, I had been there for a month and a half, and I was given an IQ test. Of course, I didn't speak any English. I turned the test back in the same way I got it. And I am down as mentally retarded in Hollywood High School. But I knew how to swim. And in the water, we were all the same. Didn't matter if I spoke English or not. And when you talk about swim or sink or swim, I swam my little heart out. And that kept me out of trouble and on the road to college. I believe that, you know, we bring with ourselves, we bring so many myths, especially when it comes to money. And I've always been, I mean, my mother took me to a psychiatrist when I was 5, okay? So I didn't fit the mold right then and there. But one thing that I see, a vein that is common among all of you, among us, that are able to lead, is the fact that we always see that glass half full. And I tell my mother, you know, my mom says, oh, my daughter has been divorced twice. And I said, you know what, Ma? Some women go through life and they don't find one man to marry them. I found 3. Look how lucky I am. So it doesn't matter what life dishes you, it's what you do with it. And I tell the audience, you know, for us, and for anyone, there are three ways of making money. The first one is labor. And one of the first words we learn in English is part-time. We need more money, we go get another job, don't we? But there's only 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So that gets old very fast. The second one is charity. And I don't care if it's the husband or the government. When you lean on somebody else and you rely on charity, you pay with the most expensive price there is, and that's your dignity. So that's not good. The third one is capital. And that is when you're able to build that little machine that makes money for you even when you sleep. That little machine that today you can do from your home, you can do with an ITIN number, you can do whether you speak English or not, because just like that water in that swimming pool, we are all the same. You can do if you're a man or a woman, money is green, it's not blue and it's not pink. And you can build that little machine, especially. I wrote the first book for women because I feel, you know, when you change a man, you change a man. But when you change a woman, you change a generation. We bring our kids in. We tell our comadres and our sisters, and we talk to the man that served our plate, and the lady in the restroom, and everybody else. Because you gentlemen are the heads of our family, but we as Latinas know very well are the neck. And we turn that head any which way we want. But the next glass ceiling that we really need to break is the glass ceiling of financial independence. And that is what I am using the media shamelessly to teach. To teach our kids who are born with intel inside that it is better to own a share of Nike than a pair of Nikes. That we can't complain that they spend the time in the computer wasting time or spending money because we don't give them any alternative. We need to get to our kids, and we need to change the way that we look at money. I had a lady who called my radio show once, and it was Maria. She lived in Oxnard, and she picked strawberries in the field. She didn't know how to work the computer, but her daughter Denise did. And what she would do is she would take notes during the radio show, and then when Denise came home, she would tell Denise what to do, and Denise opened a brokerage account for Maria, who had an ITIN number. Today, Maria has her own business. She has paid off her home, and she invests in the stock market. In fact, I had her on Despierta America on Univision. Maria is not alone. The information is there. We have to just take this out of the head. How many of you have ever heard El destino está escrito? You know, destiny is written. I would ask my mother, Mommy, am I pretty? And she would say, you know what, it's the beauty inside that counts. So I grew up thinking I was the butt ugliest thing that ever was born. If my own mother said that to me, imagine. So we're taught to be humble. And we're taught to, you know, you just don't make waves. My mom would say, some were born to be hammers and some are born to be nails. ¿Qué es eso? Really? So, and this morning I had a few interviews, and one question undoubtedly that ever came was, well, what about the economy? It's so bad. I don't know if you've ever heard or read the book by Dr. Camilo Cruz, La Vaca. But this book is about a man who was a farmer. And this man had many sons. They were very poor. And all they had was this little skinny cow that gave them a little milk, and they would sell the milk. One day, a genie showed up and said, I'm here to make you rich. He said, yes. So the genie takes out a knife, and what do you think he does? He kills the cow. So this man said, oh no, boop, the genie went away. The genie came back in a couple of years and sees this mansion and this just beautifully cultivated fields, and knocks on the door, and here comes the same man, and he's dressed beautifully, and he says, oh, you are the genie, I have to thank you because you made me rich. You killed the cow. You killed the one thing that kept my children from learning how to cultivate that land. You killed that one excuse that I had, why I didn't move on. And this is what I do on the radio every day. I help my audience kill their cows. What is your excuse? Is it that the economy is so bad? Well, what about FedEx? What about Disney? What about all those businesses that were born during recession and depression? You know the difference between recession and depression. Recession is when your neighbor loses his job, and depression is when you lose yours. But there is no excuse. The economy of a country begins at home. How many of us, especially ladies, my divas, you have a book there that is going to help you determine what kind of money personality you have. Investments are like shoes. One size doesn't fit all. How many of us really need more sleep than anything else? We're so tired of working, and we keep spending money unconsciously because we deserve it. This is why we work so hard, isn't it? How many companies play to that, saying this is more expensive, but you are worth it? I want you to bring all of this to consciousness and really see that with the help of your little mataburros, your computer, your iPhone, your smartphone, or your iPad, you have everything that you need to start making your money work for you so you don't have to work so hard for your money. As leaders, we need to open doors. We need to mentor. We need to bring those people that have come after us. We have gone through hard times. We all have a very sad story. Let's give it a moment. Let's blow our nose. Let's wash our face, and let's move on. Let's have our kids, let's have the next generation start where we ended here. This is a relay race. Let's have them begin by knowing that Wall Street can be on Main Street, it can be on Olvera Street, and that they have all the tools that they need to know that they can own a little piece of America. A good education is going to get us the tools to work for the best company. I want you to own the best companies, and you can do that one little piece at a time. And the information is there. And for the first time, we are using the media, which is long overdue in the Hispanic community, to teach how to invest. Now, I want to read something to you that really, it is so powerful for me because in being here, I don't do very well at stuff like this, okay? I'm a lot better just doing what I do, just grinding it every day. But yet, it is important that we do stop and we do say, you know what? You think I'm hot stuff? Well, you can be hotter than me. Listen to this. It comes from a book. It says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. We're very familiar with failure. It's not the fear of failure that keeps many of us back. It's the fear of success. And how many of you have ever heard in your family, ella quien se cree que es, right? What do you think she is? The minute you break the rules of the tribe, you push a button. We have to reassure our young people that they are supposed to break the rules of the tribe. That those that give us the biggest problems sometimes are the ones that are going to make the biggest changes in the world. And just like a bunch of crabs that when one tries to get out, the rest just pull it in, we need to stop doing that and really mentor, push them out, see how far they can go. I thank you. I am humbled by this experience. I feel like Cinderella in the ball. But I have to tell you that I am so inspired by meeting each one of you that in your own profession, every day while I'm out there in California doing the only thing I know how to do, you are doing what you know how to do. It is so great, Mickey, that you make us all stop and look at each other and use the wind under your wing to get me motivated and to get me ahead. Thank you for your accomplishments. Thank you for being here, stopping the craziness that we're all in every day. And I hope that really we leave here just with the thought that we need to pay forward. We need to get our young people to learn how to work their money so that their money does not have to run their lives, so that it doesn't really care. It doesn't matter what happens in our economy. Of course it does, but so that they have their economy, their whole house in order. Thank you very much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here, and just go get them. Make Wall Street your best friend. I'm telling you, it's there. Thank you very much.